Hey freaking flies, welcome back to another video on the channel. This is video number 3 of the new hire series, and today, if you've seen it from the title, we are talking about apps that I find useful for new hires. Okay, we really talking about apps that I have in my phone that I find useful. Whether you find use out of them is going to be up to you, but I thought it was worth sharing. So, to make life a lot easier, in my iPhone I have a folder, and one of those folders it's like my travel folder, and it literally just houses pretty much all the apps that I'm going to be sharing with you all right now, but I keep them all in one place so they're really easy to get to. Again, you might find that some of these, they add benefit to you in your career, and others you might be like, okay, that's kind of cool, but I don't have a need for that. Let's hop into it. So the first app that I'm going to share is FCView. This app, I don't think it's necessary for all airlines. I know it's kind of necessary to my airline because we have access to our schedules online, but like real-time access, this app was the best one. It was connected to our schedule, so it was uploaded by the month, and then we could see our original schedule. We could see the changes as they were being made from crew scheduling. And then the other added benefit of this app is that it kept a history of your schedule. So I'm able to go into the app and I can go to any month of any year since I started. I can go back to the very first month of my flying and see what that actual schedule looked like. So this is the app that I actually show you all when I used to do my Bid With Me videos, because I can't show you my actual schedule, but this is a third-party app, so I could show you that. But yes, FCView, short for Flight Crew View, was an app that was built to be beneficial to flight attendants, seeing their schedules on the go, seeing the crews, and all those other things. Really useful. Might not be necessary if the company that you work for already has that type of infrastructure in place, but for the company that I worked for, that was the go-to app. That one did cost, I want to say like $1.99 a month, maybe. Something that you don't even notice, but okay, this is editing Brandon because I feel like I missed the most important features of this app. Not only does it allow you to see your schedule in real time, but you can tap on any of the layovers that you have and not only see the hotel that you're staying at, but also you have the contact number, and then there are notes and directions in the apps that tell you this is where the shuttle is going to pick you up at, this is how often they run, this is where you need to call, and then it's going to give you other information like, is there a microwave, is there a refrigerator in your room, is there free breakfast, paid breakfast, does the hotel offer coffee in the lobby, what is the Wi-Fi like, is there a business center, is there a gym, what kind of attractions are in the local area, will the shuttle take you? All kinds of information is in the app. In addition to that, the app also allows you to connect your schedules with friends. So it's sort of like a social networking feature where you can add other friends in the industry across airlines who also use this app. And you can also have access to their schedules. Like right now, you all know Tracy, very friend of this channel. I can go into the app and see Tracy's schedule and know where she's going to be on a certain day of the month. And she can do the same for mine. Totally forgot about those features. Also, in addition to seeing your crew, it also has a chat feature, so you can just chat and message with your crew right in the app. A lot of features I forgot to mention, but yes, I highly recommend this app. That one, yes, I was in that app every day, all the time. So the second app we're going to discuss is actually two apps, but I'm going to just talk about them at the same time, and they're both dealing with flight tracking. The first one is actually called Flight Tracker, and then the second one is called Flight Aware. So in terms of Flight Tracker, this one is great because it literally lists out all available flights and schedules on any particular route on any particular day. I love this app because when I was commuting, and even when I'm non-rev traveling, being able to go into the app and say, I want to go from, Miami to New York LaGuardia Airport, and I want to see every single flight that's happening today or that has already happened, or let's say tomorrow or any future date. I'm able to see all of the flights, which is different than going on like the internet, for example, and going to Google Flights, because Google Flights is going to show you the flights that have available seats. They're not going to show you the sold out flights. But if you're a savvy traveler, commuter, or non-rev, and you need to just see all available flights for a particular day, I found that Flight Tracker was really great because you could either filter it by airline. So if you only wanted to see flights on this particular airline, because you can always get on that airline, you could do it that way as well. On the flip side, FlightAware also shows you all available flights on a particular thing, but I use FlightAware a little bit differently because on FlightAware, I would type in a specific route. Let's say Miami to Denver, for example. I know the airline that I work for, that's route 615. So I could put in the airline code FFT 615, and it's going to show me that particular flight segment, that city pair, Miami to Denver, and it'll show me all of the available flights. It's going to show me the past flights. But the main reason I use this for is I can click on the particular flight that I'm interested in and see where the plane is coming from. Why this is useful is because for non-rev and commuting purposes, let's say I am in Dallas and I'm trying to get home here to Miami, and I have an option on 3 different airlines, and the flights are all leaving, you know, within 15 to 30 minutes of each other. What I can do is, if I'm listed on this flight and there are seats available, but the flight becomes delayed, I can go look and see because where the flight is coming from, what time is expected to come in, and I might have access to a little bit more information than the gate agent might be willing to give me. Because sometimes if you're dealing with gate agents for other airlines that you don't work for, they just be like, yes, this flight is delayed. And that's it. And you don't know, like, should I stay here, put all my eggs in this basket? I'm also listed on the flight over there. Should I go over there and try to get on that one first? No, baby. I know where each flight is leaving from, what time it's supposed to leave, and if any of them are delayed, I know where the inbound plane is, and I can move and shake accordingly. So 2 apps that I use for tracking flights and knowing the specific positions of the aircraft. The 3rd app that I'm going to recommend is ID90 Travel. Again, this might be necessary for the airline you work for depending on the reciprocal jump seat agreements that they have with other airlines, but it might not be necessary. I know that this app was useful to me because this is how I'm able to book seats on the airline that I work for, as well as other airlines. 1, 2, 3, 4. There were 4 other airlines. This is 4. This. There were 4 other airlines that we would have to go onto this specific app to be able to list ourselves on their flights or to purchase Z tickets, which are discounted fare. So if I was going from like here to Colombia, for example, and I'm obviously not flying a certain airline and I need to fly another airline, and I need to book my ticket, I would book it through this app. In addition to that, the app itself is built to allow access to exclusive travel industry rates and discounts. So this is how I get discounts on everything like the cruises, hotels, resorts, rental cars. Anytime y'all see me take a trip out of the country and we were staying at a resort, 8 times out of 10, we booked the resort for super cheap right on this app. So ID90 Travel was definitely one that I recommend if you're just looking for a way to save your coin, okay? Make your money and keep some of it too. The next app that I'm going to recommend is called Roster Buster. Yes, I think I'm saying it right. Roster Buster. This particular app, the main reason that I have it is because it tracks my flying. And if you're a data person or you like charts and you like graphs and you like maps, it's the app for you. I love it because, again, you can link your schedule to it, so your schedule uploads, and then it keeps track of all of the flying that you do. So from this city to this city to this city to this city to this city, and it keeps all these specific details and data points, so it can tell you, you know, this is the longest flight you work, this is the shortest flight you work, this is the coldest destination you went to, this has been the warmest destination, you flew this many miles on this many days and this many routes and this many countries, and all of those little data points, and it creates these nice little maps. If you've seen any of my flying recaps, shameless plug, throw that playlist up top, that's where I basically get all that data from. So when I sit down at the end of the year and be like, yeah, I flew this many miles, this, and this, I know because I pull that data right from this app. And the app is great because it lets you aggregate the data, and so you can look at, you know, just this month or the last 3 months or a whole year, or you can put in a custom date range. And so the app is kind of nice because, again, it's just all this data on you that you can have to reference whenever you might need it. And it's kind of cool to see the map to be like, yo, I flew all over the place this month, or to be like, yeah, I went to the same places, because the map is there. The next app that I'm going to recommend is Staff Traveler. So this is one for commuters, but more so I want to say for the non-rev flight attendants out there. Staff Traveler is great because you build an account, and with your account, you can earn points to basically ask for loads for other aircraft. What I mean by loads, you all know that a lot of times that we travel as flight attendants for our leisure travel, it's standby travel. So if I work for Airline A and I want to go hop on a flight on Airline B because I'm going to Japan, I don't work for Airline B, so I can't just look up and say, oh, the flight has, 70 open seats and there's only 10 other people on the list, standby list. I don't have access to that information readily. So instead, you can use the app like Staff Traveler, where you go on, you build your account, you earn points by answering load questions for the airline you work for, and then you can spend those points that you earn asking for loads from other people. So it's a great way if you're planning to go on a trip in 3 months. Again, let's say I'm going to Japan. I can say that, oh, I want to fly on this airline. I can go up there and make my post, and then someone will respond to you. And the response is typically like, oh, this particular flight that you're trying to get on, it has 5 open seats and there's 10 people on the standby list. That tells me I need to look up other options. It's just helpful to know. Again, it does take a little process because you earn the points by going on, so you have to work a little bit to be able to do it. But for the most part, a lot of people find success in going up there and asking for the loads for the routes that they are in need of. The reverse side of that, I'm just going to go ahead and throw it out again. Hop on Facebook. If you're not a person that has Facebook, get Facebook just for this reason alone, especially if you are a commuter. There are non-rev loads groups on Facebook, and they do the same thing that this app does without having to go through the rigmarole of like giving something to get something in return. No, on Facebook, as long as you abide by the rules of the group, you literally just go up there and be like, hey, I'm looking at Thursday, this airline, flight number this, from Richmond to Miami, post it. And then somebody will respond with the comments that tell you it's showing 10 open, one standby. You're in the clear. You're on the flight, And then the great thing about the Facebook is that you can always go in and ask for an update, like the day of and things like that. Really great, especially mainly both of those if you're not traveling on your airline. You're going to always have access to the loads on all flights on your airline. But other airlines, until you build your little network of people, like, I got a Delta person, I got a United person, I have an American person, I got a Spirit person. Maybe we need a new Southwest person. I need a new Southwest person. There's a bunch of new airlines popping up, so I gotta, make connections over there. Because once you get specific people, you can just text them and be like, hey, what is this? And you'll find that in the aviation group, there's also circles of people where it's, one person from this many airlines and they're just in a group chat and they just can do the same thing. But until you build those connections, Facebook is a great resource, and so is Staff Traveler. Those are all the specific apps. Now we're just going to jump into some broad categories of apps. So the first broad group I'm going to recommend is that you get the apps for the specific airlines, especially if you are a commuter. It eases the process along the way. I found that if I commute on this airline, and my airline, I don't really need the one for my airline because no, I don't need that one. But the other two, it's really great for being able to go in. If you're doing things like checking in, some airlines will allow you as a standby to check in yourself on their app. Others, you have to do it at a ticking counter, but if they do allow you to do it on the app, do it on the app. Some of them will be able to let you see your position on the standby list, which is really great if you're, again, trying to get from Dallas to Miami and you're on the standby list for 3 different airlines or 3 different flights, and being able to just readily be able to hop in the app and see what your position is without having to go to their boarding location and look up at the screen and look for the little check mark. We ain't got time for all that. Let me know through the app, have I been cleared? Let me know through the app what my seat is, if you're able to do that. It's really helpful. And then also, if your airline has a commuter clause, if it requires you to show documentation that you were, checked in, that you're on the standby list, bingo, bam, a screenshot. That one time I told you I was struggling to get out of Charlotte to get back to Miami, and I had to call out commuter clause, and I had to send that screenshot, the in-flight showing that I was like number 82 on the standby list. Yes, that is when it's helpful to have the apps for the airlines. Like, they all just sit on one page and on my phone in that same travel folder, and I use them when I need them. Along with the airline apps, I'm also going to recommend that you get the hotel apps for their reward programs. Those are going to be things like Marriott Bonvoy, Hilton Honors, IHG, which is, I think, Intercontinental Hotel Group. They cover a variety of brands. World of Hyatt, Wyndham, What's another one? I ain't really ever stayed at no Choice hotels, but Choice, that's another brand. But those reward programs, because once you get online and you start knowing the types of hotels you stay at, you will quickly pick up on which hotels allow you to put your number on file and which ones don't. Now, caveat. Majority of these hotels will not give you points for your stay, but you do get stay credit. And depending on how their structure is set up, your stay credit can be used for things like upgrades down the line. Let me tell you an example what I mean by this. Okay.
And everyone, get ready to do your math.
Staying at a certain brand of hotels, I won't name what it is for security reasons. I used to stay at a certain hotel in Newark a lot. Like, y'all, you've been following me for a while. You know how much I was in Newark on layovers. And I was staying at the hotel and getting stay credit. I wasn't getting points that would add on to free nights and things like that, but I was getting stay credit. Okay, track me. Y'all know I mentioned ID90 earlier in the video as getting discounts on hotels. So when I would non-rev travel, I could book myself at such and such hotel in the same brand and at a discounted rate. Then once I got there and checked in, use my stay credits to upgrade myself to better rooms. Like, it's a game, and once you learn the game, baby, you're unstoppable. Like, make it make sense. Like, your company has already paid for these hotel rooms, and you can get stay credit off of the stuff that they already paid for, and then you can use the stay credit to benefit you along the way for upgrades in the future. For all of the non-rev travel that you're gonna do, why not take advantage of it? You'll find a lot of flight attendants, they don't waste their time, they don't care, and some flight attendants are very adamant about it. I'm one of those flight attendants that was very adamant about it. I'm gonna get this stay credit if I can get this stay credit. Rounding up the list at number 9, the next set of apps that I recommend are the rideshare apps, or I should say, let me call this category transportation. So get your Uber, get your Lyft, because commuting, duh. But also being on layovers and, you know, exploring different cities, you need to get around. For the most part, we can trust that those are safer alternatives in terms of getting around the system, getting around different layover cities in addition to public transportation. But then I would also add on and say, if you are a commuter, if your base has a transit system, or if a popular layover that you go to has a transit system, go ahead and get their app. I know for me, I think it's the New Jersey Transit is what it's called. Maybe, don't quote me on that. But I used to lay over a lot in New Jersey, taking the train into the city, taking the bus into the city, taking the whatever into the city. And so it was just helpful to already have the app on my phone, being able to track the times of departures and being able to buy, like, monthly passes and things. Like, there's other ways around the system that it can benefit you when you have the app, so look into that. You're on a layover a place you go to often and they have a transit system, maybe get their app. You might find it to be useful. And lastly, rounding up the list at number 10 is going to be the food delivery apps, because who doesn't order Uber Eats or DoorDash at this point? Listen, there will be a time where you're on a layover and you gotta order some food, okay? Go ahead and get you, if you're a commuter living in your crash pad, depending on what your setup is like, you're gonna be ordering some food. Go ahead and get you some of these apps, preferably get you something that can help you earn some points along the way so you can get some credit for all this money you're spending. But hop on those food delivery apps, Uber Eats, DoorDash, Postmates, Grubhub. Put a couple of them in the folder as well, because in this lifestyle, sometimes we end up just ordering food. I be on a layover and it's 12:30 in the morning and I'm ordering Taco Bell. Maybe it's 2 o'clock in the morning. Like, it is what it is. Maybe you're ordering a seafood boil to your hotel room because, that's what you wanted to do and you didn't feel like leaving, and you grown and you could do that. So that's what you do. But I ended up ordering food. I didn't go to the Crafty Crab. I ordered Crafty Crab on Uber Eats because I had like $30 worth of credit. Alright, you all, so that rounds out my list of 10 apps, or I should say 10 categories of apps that I find useful and you might find useful as a new hire. Again, I'm going to ask if there are any current flight attendants watching. If you have apps that you recommend, you find really useful, please drop down in the comment box and share what those apps are and the use for them. I'm going to list all of the apps that I mentioned in the description box. If you are a new hire, please drop down below and let me know if you have any of these already, because We're all about sharing the wealth. We're not gatekeeping in this new hire series. Share the wealth, make it easy for other people coming into the industry. I'm Brandon, I'm a guy who flies, and I will see you all the next time.